Hi guys! Happy Sunday. It's April 28th and here in southeastern Michigan it's raining. So let's just ignore that and get to talking about knitting. So this week I've been super distracted. I've been focusing mainly on studying for a certification test I'm hoping to take sometime in the next couple of weeks. And that has taken up most of my time. So I've gotten a little I'm probably going to have a little bit less knitting for a couple of weeks while I try to prepare for this test. I'm super nervous about it and I'm hoping that I pass. So with that being said, I did finish one thing. I finished Dolly Parton. And if you guys aren't aware or haven't seen on Instagram, there's a very popular pattern going around called the emotional support chicken. And I decided to make one for myself, and it came out really cute. So I will definitely show you that. I've also worked a little bit on the scarf that I've been working on for the last couple of weeks, and I also started my cardigan, my Thursday special, so I'm super excited about that. So let's get into it. This is Dolly Parton, and I think she's so cute. So let's talk about the pattern because it was a lot of fun, and I've really liked. I really enjoyed the process. Let's just say that. So the whole chicken is in garter stitch. And that means that rather than doing stockinette where you have to purl, you're knitting every row. And I appreciated that. Another thing that I really liked was that since it was in garter stitch on the pattern, it said that you do not have to pick up the wraps from the wraps and turns, and I agree, you do not. So that was something that just made it a little bit easier. But overall, it's just a little cute stuffy, and it has a little comb and a waddle and a beak, and that's pretty much it, right? My daughter has already, as soon as I was done with it, she brought it to me and she's like, "Oh, did you see this?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw it. I finished it." And she's like, "Can I sleep with it?" So I have a feeling I know where Dolly Parton is going to be spending most of her time, but that's fine. I figured that before I even started this project. I figured that it was going to end up going to my daughter, which was part of the reason why I picked pink. The other part is because, I love pink too. So I would say if I were trying and concentrated fully on it, I could have probably finished this in a day. But because it had short rows and I'm trying to knit while I'm studying, I broke it down over several days. So, and that's perfectly fine. I think she's cute. I did not stuff her as much as I normally would have because she takes a lot of stuffing, and I used all the stuffing that I had. So that's what it is. If it truly bothered me, I could take apart the seam and stuff her more, but I don't think it will. I like her this way. She's kind of squishy. Would I make this again? Probably. I think I might make it in some different weight yarn. Maybe I'll try like a bulky. I wonder what would happen, like how much bigger it would be if I used bulky weight instead. That would be a very big chicken or heavy chicken. So I'm a big fan of making amigurumi out of the blanket yarns, and maybe making her out of the blanket yarn would be fun. I don't know. The thing that I love making the blanket yarn, but the thing with the blanket yarn is that it's expensive, And it's especially expensive if the stuffy that you're making has more than one color. And it's even more expensive if the stuffy that you're making isn't meant for blanket yarn. So like this would take a whole bunch of blanket yarn because the pattern's not modified to use it. So anyway, I think that this turned out really cute. And the pattern came in the kit. The eyes came in the kit. The beak yarn, the comb and wattle yarn, just the eyes, everything I think except the stuffing. The kit even came with a yarn needle, a sticker, and some stitch markers. And one of the stitch markers had like a, how am I trying to say this? It came with like a little resin chicken glittery stitch marker. It was really cute. So it was definitely fun. And now that I have the pattern, and I could have just done this to begin with, now that I have the pattern, I could just grab yarn from my worsted weight stash and just work with that. But I guess we'll see. It'd be really cute to do this in, like, I don't know, she seems almost like a pillow, right? So cute. So that was my big finished object for the day. The week. Wow. Things have been, like I said, I've been studying so much lately that my mind has like been many different places all at once. So, oh, I need to fix the yarn. Hang on. I'm hoping I can take my test sometime coming up. And we'll just see how that goes. But it's hard with certifications because, side note, if you've never taken a certification test, they word things very purposely obtuse. Maybe, is that what I'm trying to say? The wording that they use on the certification exams is purposely meant to trip you up. And it drives me nuts. And it's very hard. I mean, it's meant to be hard, but it's not hard in the way that, hey, I studied all this stuff and I know the answers. It's hard in, hey, what are they trying to ask? Okay, so this is my Prismarine scarf, and it's getting very long here. I can't even fit it all into one screen. But I restarted the colors right here. So we went from orange to blue. And if you go all the way back here, this is the blue that I just started again. So this is basically half of the scarf. I'm trying to rearrange my needle. I've been enjoying this, and I don't know that I've gotten too much done this week. Mostly because, like I said, I've been busy with other stuff. But I do like this, and I'm excited to use it whenever it, well, yeah, no, maybe. Let's see. If you tried to follow that sentence, I'm sorry. I really am. Okay, so I'm thinking, it's a scarf, right? Scarves for winter, but this is fingering weight. So is it still going to keep me warm? I don't know. It should. My fingering weight sweaters keep me warm, so. But the only thing I can think of is like the weather that requires me to use a scarf is when like there's this much snow. And at that point, I really need like my own personal portable heater I can just carry around everywhere. But either way, if it doesn't work for me, my son or daughter will definitely use it. There's not much to say about this one. I'm hoping I can get it done sometime in the next couple of weeks. I'm hoping, because I had said about, I don't know, a month ago that I had wanted to cast on a flax sweater for myself, and I'm still going to, but the yarn that I want to use for the flax light sweater is fingering weight, and I only really want to have one fingering weight item on at a time, especially the bigger items, because I think that that's all that I can manage to knit on in a week. So hopefully I'll be done with that pretty soon, and that way I can start on my flax light. It seems like I've made so many flax sweaters, either the regular flax or the flax light, and I've never made one for me. So it'll be kind of a new experience. I will definitely be, because the flax, I don't know. Well, at least the flax does, and I'm sure the flax light does. I just can't say offhand, because the last couple of times I've knit either of those patterns, it's been the flax. I'm sure that the flax light has the options to where you can add the short rows. And what else? They also have the 2 options for the neckline, where one is you cast on at the ribbing, and it's a little bit like it's a little bit stretchier and doesn't have as much structure, and the other option is just to cast on right below where the ribbing would start, and then work the whole sweater, and then knit the ribbing at the end, and it'll give a little bit more structure. I'm not sure what one I will pick for me. I'll have to think about it, because I do like whenever the neck hole is not way up here. I'm not a big fan of things right around my neck. Okay, so this is actually, and I've got to do some TLC. Hang on a sec. So whenever I'm not using, I'll show you in a second. Hang on, let me get them out. I've got my knitting needles all attached to each other here so that my yarn doesn't wind off. So whenever I am not using a needle and it's attached to my yarn, I have to kind of section it off so that it's not going to come undone, because okay, so here's the Thursday special, and this is my size. So I have 3 needles attached to this. Let me explain how you work this. So the first thing that you do is you knit this back piece right here, and you knit it for 6 inches, which is what I did. So I knit for 6 inches. You cast on provisionally with a crochet hook. Well, I mean, obviously you can cast on provisionally any way that works for you. I did the crochet hook method. And once you knit the 6 inches of the back, you go and you pick up your stitches, and then you start working the front. Now, as you can see, I've got my front. There's not really a good way to show this. Okay, so you can kind of see that there are short rows up here, and then there's ribbing up. There's like a ribbing section right there, and then you start the lace. Now, once these two sides are the same number of rows, the pattern has you count how many rows you do between a certain section. Basically, after you stop the short rows on the back, you basically count how many rows until you get 6.5 inches, and then you are supposed to work. See this little stitch marker right over here? You're supposed to count from here and work that many rows down. And then you go on to the other side, which I already have on needles. I already have on a set of needles, and I will go work the left hand side just like I worked the right side. And then when I have 6 inches on basically the right, the left, and the back, I will join them in the round. Well, not in the round completely, but I will join them into to be one section, and it'll make it a little bit easier to knit. At least I won't have 3 needles coming off of it. But I think that that's turning out super pretty. I really do love this color. This is Teal Feather by Malabrigo Rios. And I'm excited for it. My daughter has been wearing her cardigan, and she definitely needs it since it has been rainy this weekend, unfortunately. We were hoping that we were going to get some yard work done and go to the park. I woke up this morning and it's like a washout. And the thing that makes me mad about it was that yesterday it rained in the morning, and we were like, okay, well, we'll wait until tomorrow to do all this stuff because it was damp, but it still would have been doable. Well, surprise, we should have done it yesterday. Doesn't it figure, right? Oh well, there's always next weekend. You can see that my stitch markers down below are basically sectioning off each lace repeat just to make it a little bit easier on myself. And we have a garter band right here. Let me see if I can show you the... Yes, do you see the little ending chain right there? I looked up the best way to finish... I looked up the best way to start the row with garter stitch to have a nice finish, and it's super simple. You just slip the first stitch purlwise. Now, I had been doing that, and I was doing that on my daughter's cardigan too. The problem that I have was that I was swapping 2 yarns. So I was knitting back and forth with 2 yarns because it's hand-dyed yarn, and I didn't want a bunch of color pooling. And I will do that with this one too, but I've decided that I am going to start the new yarn right between the button band, this band, and right here. I'm going to swap the yarn, just change the yarns instead of having to change them and worry about it at the end, the ending stitch, because it does make the stitch look kind of funny when you're moving 2 yarns instead of 1. So hopefully that will help make the garter band a little bit nicer. Oh, I'm excited about this though, and it feels... I've been super cold lately, so I'm glad to have a worsted weight sweater coming off the needles, even though it's gonna be May and Wednesday. Wednesday it will be May, so I think that's right. I hope that's right. If it's not, I mean, May will be here in a couple of days, right? That is it for my knitting. like I said, not very exciting this week. I'm hoping that everybody has had a great knitting week or crafting week or crochet week, and that's pretty much it for all the knitting and crafting content this week. I have been spending most of my time studying and trying to take as many practice tests as possible, so there hasn't been very many books to be read. I can't even remember the last book that I did read. That's how bad it's been, right? Oh, now I do. Okay, so the last book that I read was The Missing Wife, and I believe I put it on the screen last week, so if you're interested, just check that one. It was a good book. I mean, the ending was okay. It was okay, right? I mean, sometimes you read books and they're okay. There's nothing earth-shattering about them, but it was a good distraction for a couple of hours. And that's pretty much it. That's all the books that we're getting this week. We started watching Ready Player One, the movie, with my 2 kids, and my son has read the book, and I have read the book, and we're, I don't know, like 45 minutes, an hour into the movie, and we both have pretty much the same opinion, which is, what are they doing? I mean, it's different, right? The movie and the book are completely at odds. So we're just gonna finish watching that when we finish watching it. We both pretty much decided that we're just not that into it. He was looking through our case of Blu-rays and DVDs, and he's like, oh wow, we have Divergent. And I'm like, yeah, I've never seen it. So I've read the book Divergent, and I have had the DVD since probably my daughter was, what probably happened was that we got it when my daughter was really little, and with a kid being very little, there's not a lot of time to watch movies, so I never watched it. So we might actually decide to watch that sometime soon. He seemed pretty interested in it. I hope that you guys are having a great week, and I hope that you're getting a lot of crafting done. I'm sorry that this episode was so short, but I will see you guys next week, and I hope that you have a great day. Thanks. Bye!